Tonight I'm going to be showing you guys how to install LED headlights in your 1998 to 2002 Subaru Forester. Currently in my 1999 Forester I have standard halogen headlights, and they could be a lot better, especially when you compare them to the BMW. And also in this video what we're going to be doing is going over how to install fog lights, convert those to LEDs, as well as converting the reverse lights to LED too. So this is what the standard halogen headlights currently look like. There is some street lighting here and it's not super dark out just yet, so when I install the LEDs they'll look even brighter. But oh, perfect timing too, because I have a fog light that's out and I did not even notice that. But there we go, that's the light output on low beam, and we're going to switch over to high beam, turn the one fog off. And that's the current output of the high beams from the standard halogens that are in there. Not too bad, but certainly could be better. So we're going to start off by installing the headlights, which is a pretty simple procedure and should only take you about 5 minutes to do both of them. First thing we're going to need to do is pop the hood. To do that, get up underneath the driver's side dash. There's a little tab there you pull. Come around over to the hood. There's a little lever down in there. And then fix your prop rod up to your hood. Now we just need to locate the headlight bulb. So it's going to be on the USDM models. Here's the driver's side here, there's the battery, and then right behind the headlight itself there's going to be this little connector and a rubber boot all the way around it. So we're going to pull this connector off, and to pull it off you have to squeeze the sides, which it's a little hard to see from this angle here, but there is a spot where you can squeeze them and it makes it a lot easier to just pull that out. So now we need to get rid of this rubber boot, and to do that this just slides out. And we're going to set that somewhere away from the rats. Next you've got little hooks here that just need to be squeezed and pulled away. And if you just had your headlights on, this bulb's going to be pretty hot. So now we could just remove the bulb and set this aside somewhere clean, just in case you have a DOA. So now we're going to unbox the LED headlights. I went with this Oxido brand that I used in the last video for the Nissan Sentra. This time they did not send me these for free. I did buy these at full price, just because I did like them so much. And I will leave a link in the description below for you to be able to buy them as well. So now we're just going to grab one of these bulbs, doesn't matter which one, and verify that the connector is the same, which it is. Verify that these tabs are the same as the halogen bulb, which they are. And we're going to go pop it right back into where the old bulb was. On these bulbs there's going to be one thicker tab and two smaller tabs, which correspond with the slots that they're supposed to go into. And the thicker tab goes at the top, the smaller goes to the bottoms. And same thing with this clip. You just push this guy there. It's much easier with two hands, the one to hold the bulb and one to connect the clip. Once that is clipped in, then you're going to notice if you have one of these with a large heat sink like these do, your stock cover will not fit, so you might have to modify it, or you can run it without it. If you do, you risk getting condensation in the headlight and possibly water as well. So I'm going to try to make this fit over there as well. Okay, so my rubber boot actually kind of fell apart because it's you know, over 20 years old, and you can get these boots pretty cheap online, but even then you're going to have to cut around it a little bit to get your heat sink over it, because you don't want to enclose the heat sink at all. And then once you're able to fit it over, you can just snap this guy right back into place and then plug the new headlight into the socket. Now from the factory there is this rubber seal on here that kind of completes this whole thing. I don't have any off-roading plans or anything like that for this car, but you may want to, if you do plan on off-roading, you may want to add a big piece of heat shrink or something over this, but I'm okay with how this connection sits. It'll be pretty secure. And yeah, it's on there pretty good. Yep, so I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to pop that back down there. Maybe I'll zip tie this long lead off somewhere in here. But for now, we're going to move on to the other side. All right, let's take a look at the difference. Already you could tell which one's the halogen and which one's the LED. That's definitely putting out a lot more light. And the other bulb is going to be located right here below this little snorkel thing. If you want to take this off, it's a 10mm nut, or sorry, bolt that you just pop out here, and it gives you a lot more room. Or you could just do it without it. I'm going to do it without it because it's pretty easy to get to. Just pull that guy out there, and then remove this rubber cover just as you did on the other side. Rubber cover's out. Squeeze those little tabs again. Oh, this time the whole metal thing came out, which is okay. And we're gonna go put this somewhere as well. Well, you won't be able to see it really well on mine. Hopefully I'll be able to zoom in the video. But my tab for this little capture, or this thing, is broken, but it can still be installed. To fix that, you basically just need a new headlight, or you get away with plastic welding something on there. And here we are a few minutes later with the new LEDs installed, and they are much brighter. Let's hit the high beams real quick. There you go. They're not blinding or have any type of scatter pattern at all, although it may appear like that in the camera, but in person they are actually really nice. Good pattern and everything. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and install the reverse lights, and to do that it's very easy, much easier than the headlights. So in your trunk you're going to find this panel on both sides, and the process is the exact same for both. Pardon my messy trunk. I'm just going to take those two tabs, pull that out of the way, and then the very bottom socket here is your light bulb socket. So we're gonna just push in here, twist. There's no real push in, but then this whole socket gently comes out. Be careful not to break the bulb. And to get these style bulbs out, you just push in, give it a little twist, and the bulb comes out. Now I also went with the same brand LEDs, the Oxido. I already installed that one for sake of time. And let's plug this guy right back in, same way that the other one came out. Except this time you are pushing it and going clockwise instead of counterclockwise in the socket. And then the bulb just kind of goes back in there. Alright, then you just push that back in, give it a twist. Put your panel back on, which goes in with these tabs first. And once your cover's back on, you can go ahead and test it. So it's been a couple days, and Oxido actually sent me these fog lights for the Forester for free, just to do a video on them, just kind of as I did with the Sentra. But the headlights and the tail lights, or the reverse lights rather, I did purchase with my own money, just because I did like them on the Sentra so much. So today we're going to be installing these fog lights on our 99 Subaru Forester, and I'll show you what that process is like. If you remember from a little bit earlier, I did have a fog light out, so I couldn't really get a fair comparison between the two. But what we're going to do is we're going to pop off this fog light and then swap the bulb on and do it on the other side. So typically what you want to do is you want to remove this housing, and to do that there's a screw down there, which I don't know if you'll be able to see. If not, I'll take a picture of it. And then one way back there, although you do see a very visible screw right here, but there's one way back there that you do have to get to. The one that's the most visible and the only one not rusted on here is the only one you don't need to take off to do the headlight or the fog light. Unfortunately, I stripped this screw, and I know I will strip the other one because mine are so rusted. So I'm just going to do another technique. If you have a lot of rust as well, you can pop this bottom panel off here and access the fog light housing from the back. So to do that, we're just gonna use a little tool here. You can use a flathead screwdriver. Sometimes these little plastic rivets inevitably break, but you can replace them for pretty cheap. I'm gonna try to do it without breaking them. Once you remove just this corner piece of clip here, that'll be enough to get this whole thing out of the way. If you really want, you can remove the other clip. I'm having trouble with that one, so I know it will break, so I'm just moving this guy back here. hopefully you guys can see, but back here is the back of the headlight housing. I mean the fog light housing, and you see these connectors over here. Those are the ones that we have to take out of the back of the housing, and then we're going to put the bulb in through the back here as well. And these bulbs are super simple to come out. You basically just imagine they're in the back of the housing here. You rotate them counterclockwise and you gently pull out, and this guy looks like it's been serviced before. There's some electrical tape on here, so maybe this connector's no good. But we're going to pop this off. Typically you would just depress this clip where mine is taped and then pull this bulb out that way. Now we're going to come over to our Oxido box, pop this open, and we're going to take our bulbs out. We're going to take one out. There's nice LEDs. Make sure if you've got greasy fingers like I do, avoid touching the diodes on here so you don't shorten the lifespan of them. So then, in the same way you took out the bulbs on the old one, or the old bulb, this goes right into that connector, and you want to make sure that you feel a click once you do it. So once you plug the headlight back in, then you pop it back in the housing, turning it clockwise, and you can see that the light, maybe you can't through this camera, but you'll be able to see it on yours, that your headlight, the new LED, is exactly where it's supposed to be. So now we're going to go over to the passenger side and give that a go. Well, I realized I accidentally didn't hit the record button when I had the camera set up on the tripod, but so you can see it's in there, and underneath I had to do the same thing because these bolts were all stripped out. I just took this piece off, that trim piece, and then snuck my hand behind and was able to get that bulb in there, no issues at all. So now let's turn it on and see what it looks like. All right, and we will be getting a night shot as well too, but for now, here's the date. It is a little hard to tell because it is so sunny out right now, but both of them are working and they both look really awesome. I have to replace the housing on the driver's side of that fog light because it looks like it got burned through over here and it's not really putting out the best light it can. So that'll be a replacement in the future, but that bulb looks awesome in there. Okay, so now it's nighttime. Let's get a look at those fog lights and headlights. All right, so as you saw in the earlier part, those are just the headlights, and last time only that fog light was working, or it was out. I can't remember. It's been a couple weeks. So really good low beam pattern, and let's see what those fog lights look like now. Oh, wow, look at that. Those fog lights, I know the camera's doing them absolutely no justice, but they sure are bright. They put out a good amount of light, and it's weird, it's showing up weird in the camera that it kind of looks like it's only down, but it is actually going out. I wish there was a way to have the fog lights on by themselves, but unfortunately there's no mode to do that, and I don't feel like wiring up something to have that done. But let's get an in-car view with them on and off. All right, so this is just the headlights, now on high beam, back to low beam, and then fog lights. Oop, that is cruise control. Fog lights, there you go. You can see them out further than you could outside the car. That's just the way the camera is, but I notice it. Those are pretty bright. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, make sure you'll give it a like. If you don't, give it a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like it, or leave a comment telling me why you did like it. Hopefully it helps you with your install and upgrading to LED headlights, and I really recommend them. Oxido, thank you so much again for sending me the fog lights. As I mentioned, I did independently purchase the headlights and the reverse lights by myself because I like them so much on my girlfriend's Sentra, which that video is right up here, or here, wherever it's going to be. So there'll be a link in the description below if you want some discounts, non-affiliate links to your own Oxido headlights. Use my code. All the information will be in the description. Save yourself a little bit of money, and I recommend these. So I've had these headlights on for about a month and a half, and I love them so far. They're absolutely fantastic, and with the fog lights now being done, I can't wait for some fog, which you know, it's not the most ideal driving conditions, but when you have the right equipment, it makes it all that much better. Thank you guys so much again, and remember, as always, keep it foul.